In this presentation, I shall describe the roots of Hinduism. Hinduism has been compared to a growing banyan tree, spreading its roots on the earth and sprouting up in many directions. We may not know where it starts or ends. In the Hindu faith, there are no set parameters, no fixed rules, and no rigid schedules. Hinduism is a vastly liberal religion. In fact, it openly and fervently encourages and tolerates differences of opinion, use of discretion, and interpretation based on one's own circumstances and perceptions. At the same time, there are some strong ethical principles and rituals that characterize this religion. The great Vedas and Upanishads affirm these principles in an organized compilation. Belief in the authority of these ancient scriptures is one of the chief prerequisites of Hinduism. In light of this, it may appear rather paradoxical to have such opposing attitudes. But in the true spirit of a large family, which it not only resembles, but in every sense passionately promotes, Hinduism is like a traditional family. Four major ethnic groups passed by India: Austro-Asiatic, Tibeto-Burman, Dravidian, and Indo-Aryan. The earliest was the Austro-Asian, which group passed by the Indian subcontinent from Africa on its way to Australia about 50,000 years ago. Whatever may have been the origin of these different groups, the origin of Hinduism fixedly belongs to India without any contest. Max Muller also confirms the Vedic religion was the only one, the development of which took place without any extraneous influences. In fact, the roots of Hinduism go back a long way, even much earlier than the inception of the Vedas. The excavation of the Saraswati-Sindhu civilization, which dates back more than 5,000 years, show evidence of the carvings of Shiva in his protoform as Pasupati, the Lord of all animal kingdoms, and also in the yoga asana or yoga positions. There are also carvings of exuberant feminine deities which would later be known as various forms of the mother goddess Shakti. The ancient naked figurines in meditative poses of the lotus position and standing Kayotasarga, relaxation with self-awareness, are very suggestive of the philosophy of meditation and introspection. These would become later the cornerstones of Hinduism and other allied religions like Jainism and Buddhism. About these early prehistoric religious developments, it has been said, one feels certain that behind all these lighting flashes of spiritual and philosophic thought, there is a distant past, a dark background, of which we shall never know the beginning. These philosophical notions later commingled with those of the Aryans who believed in nature gods and worshipped the sun, the moon, fire, wind, the sky, and so on. This led to an exigent feature of Hinduism. It would always remain centered around God rather than one individual or prophet. The Aryans also incorporated the practice of worship with rituals of sacrifice. Later, the idol and the temple concepts of the southern Dravidian culture were assimilated in the emerging Hindu religion. Indeed, adaptation and modification would become the hallmark of the Hindu philosophy. Names of these two rivers, Saraswati and Sindhu, are mentioned repeatedly, perhaps more frequently than other rivers, in the most ancient Hindu scripture, the Rig Veda. This suggests that this civilization was the epicenter of all cultural activities during the period. The Sarsaswati-Sindhu civilization reached its zenith in the period between 2500 BCE and 1700 BCE. More than 1500 cities developed on the banks of these two great rivers. The acceptance of the Vedas as the supreme authority, however, eventually became the melting point of many diverse ethnic cultures toward the formation of Hinduism. Even so, the name Hinduism was coined much later, around the 15th century, and became popular only in the 19th century. Earlier, more universal names like Manav Dharma, religion of the man, and Sanatan Dharma, religion eternal, were commonly used. Also in the Hindu theology, the word dharma is considered as more appropriate than religion, since it relates more with the spiritual and philosophical dimensions rather than with the beliefs, organization, and administration. Thank you.